Hey friends, family, Hokie fans, my name is Grayson Wimbish, and around this time of year I would normally be putting out a Virginia Tech football hype trailer, but instead I decided this year I want to take this time to tell you about my very good friend, Robbie Armbrister. My family met Robbie Armbrister in the fall of 2015 in Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia in Section 10 as a part of the 2015 reseeding for the year. And upon seeing him for the first time, we were immediately drawn to and amused by this very rowdy, rambunctious Hokie yelling at the ref for missing a pass interference call. As the season went on, he would always be the only one standing up the entire time in Section 10. Mind you, this is a section where there's a lot of old alumni who love to sit down for the entirety of these football games. But he was never afraid to tell someone telling him to sit down, hey, when I'm in Lane Stadium, I'm standing up to cheer on my team. I don't know about you, but that's how I roll. Robbie always held the attitude that despite a 21-point deficit, the Hokies would find a way to pick up the pieces, come back, and leave Lane Stadium with a win. As time went on and more football seasons passed, my brothers, my mother, and father and I always looked forward to seeing Robbie at football games. We became friends on social media. We always shook each other's hands prior to kickoff, talked to each other about the thoughts of the day's football contest, and got ready to cheer on Virginia Tech. Through the wins and losses, Robbie would turn around and yell, "We're gonna do it, Wimbish boys, we're gonna do it!" Whether or not that actually happened, Robbie always believed that the 12th man could pull the Hokies to a victory. One of my favorite memories of Robbie was watching him lose his voice in real time at the 6-overtime UNC game in 2019. Shoulder to shoulder, we watched as Quincy Patterson rushed for the game-winning two-point conversion. And I, like many other Hokie fans, will never ever forget that evening as long as I live. Whether it was the Tar Heels of North Carolina, the Miami Hurricanes, or somewhere in between, Robbie Armbrister became a staple piece in my family's game day experience, and I always looked forward to seeing my friend whenever I would come home to Blacksburg from Los Angeles. In March of 2022, I found out that Robbie was diagnosed with testicular cancer. When I learned this, I immediately thought to myself, if there's one person I know who would smile in the face of his illness, it would be my friend Robbie. I was confident as ever that he would fight with the courage and the same positive attitude that he was always known and loved for. In September of last year, I traveled home to Blacksburg from LA to watch Virginia Tech take on the Boston College Eagles. And as I walked up the ramp into Section 10, a familiar face stopped me as I started the trek up to my seats. It was Robbie. And as one can imagine, I was ecstatic to see him and was able to give him a big hug and tell him how much he meant to my family and I. And little did I know that this moment would be the last moment I would ever see Robbie in the same place that our friendship started. Less than 3 weeks later, on September 27, 2022, Robbie Armbrister passed away at the age of 31 due to complications from testicular cancer. Over the last month, I've had the honor and the privilege to get to know Robbie's parents, along with some of his closest friends, and talk to them about how much their son and their friend meant to my family and so many others. With the blessing of Robbie's family, I've decided to start Rowdy for Robbie, a campaign to raise awareness for testicular cancer. This fall, these wristbands will be for sale in Lot 1 on several home game days throughout the season. They're going to be $7 cash or Venmo in honor of Robbie's favorite football player to play at Virginia Tech, Michael Vick, and all the proceeds will go to the Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation in an effort to educate young men at the collegiate level about the illness. More details will be released on exactly where they're going to be able to be purchased in the coming weeks. So with this in mind, I do want to take this time to turn it over to Robbie's father, Gary Armbrister, who is going to tell you a little bit more about Robbie's Memorial Fund.
Thank you, Grayson, and thanks for sponsoring the Rowdy for Robbie campaign benefiting testicular cancer awareness. Our son Robbie became a Hokie at a very young age. He was influenced by his granddad Armbrister, me, an aunt, 2 uncles, his brother, and a first cousin who all attended Virginia Tech. On the Hokie Inner Sandman and Let's Go Hokies scales, Robbie ranked near the top. Anyone seeing and hearing Robbie knew he was a true Hokie. One characteristic prevalent in almost every story was his ability to communicate with absolutely everyone he encountered. Robbie never had met a stranger, only made new friends who instantly became part of our family. He wanted to know everyone's story, and in each story he found some commonality that bound that person to him and to his family. Robbie exemplified the quote, "Never look down on someone unless you're helping them up." Through all his pursuits, Robbie was a free spirit, uninhibited and carefree, yet intentional in bringing people together. Through his joyful personality, infectious smile, and endearing laugh. In memory of Robbie's giving and caring spirit, and to carry on his legacy, my wife Lisa, Robbie's brother Wes, and I founded the Robbie Armbrister Memorial Family Services Fund last fall following his passing. Robbie's Memorial Fund is a component fund of the Community Foundation of the New River Valley, based in Christiansburg, Virginia. The primary purpose of Robbie's fund is to support children, youth, young adults, and young families with children under the age of 25 that are in crisis or need a hand up, and are located principally in the Virginia counties of Henry and Wythe, the two counties where Robbie spent most of his short life and where he called home. For more information about how you can give to the Robbie Armbrister Memorial Fund, please visit www.cfnrv.org or please visit www.celebraterobbie.love. We hope you will consider a generous donation to Robbie's fund, and also don't forget to buy your Rowdy for Robbie wristband and Let's Go Hokies. Back to you, Grayson, and thanks again for all you're doing.
Thank you for that, Gary. It goes without saying that my friend Robbie Armbrister truly embodied in every way what it meant to be a Virginia Tech Hokie. He was humble in defeat, and he was rowdy as ever in victory. And while he is no longer with us here on earth, his spirit lives on in every single Virginia Tech fan across Hokie Nation. So with the 2023 football season upon us, I plan on honoring my friend this year and always by joining the fight against testicular cancer and always being rowdy for Robbie. Go Hokies.